Today, prosecutors filing charges against Antoine Fielder in the deaths of those two deputies. Those charges now include 2 counts of capital murder and aggravated robbery. Fielder already facing a murder charge from 2015 along with assault and battery charges. We're keeping close tabs on that podium. Again, they just did a mic check a short while ago, so when it happens, we'll be sure to let you know. The deputies, Teresa King and Deputy Patrick Rohr, shot and killed last week. 11:17 is when the call came in exactly 1 week ago. That news conference set to begin right now. We will take you there.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark Dupree. I am the duly elected Wyandotte County District Attorney. With me today is the Wyandotte County Sheriff, Mr. Don Ash, as well as Deputy Max Seibert. He's the president of the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge 40. The purpose of this press conference is to discuss the filing of charges against Antoine Fielder. Today, our office charged Fielder with 2 counts of capital murder and 1 count of aggravated robbery. The murder charges are from the shooting deaths of 2 deputies with the Wyandotte County Sheriff's Office, Deputy Patrick Rohr and Deputy Teresa King, on June 15, 2018. Mr. Fielder was charged in our office with aggravated robbery, at which time last week he was being transported for a hearing, motions hearing on that case, at which time he then overpowered one of the deputies and caused the incident that ultimately caused us to charge these crimes. Mr. Fielder is innocent until and unless proven guilty. In way of background, Mr. Fielder was charged in this office and had a trial back in 2017. It was March of 2017 for a murder that had occurred in 2015. After that trial, a jury hung, which means that part of the jury found that he was guilty and part found that he was not. My office at that time decided to retry the case based off of the same evidence. We tried the case again in July of 2017. Again, Mr. Fielder was, his trial was declared to be a mistrial, a hung jury again. I will tell you that that hung jury resulted into a 10-2 ruling, which means that 10 of the people on the jury believed that he was innocent and 2 found him guilty. At that point, we dismissed the case without prejudice. Having spoke with the jury as well as my assistant district attorneys on the case and law enforcement, we thought it was best to continue the investigation to try to find more evidence that would give us a better opportunity of getting a conviction of Mr. Fielder. While in the process of looking for more evidence and trying to determine if we can try him again on some of the new evidence, Mr. Fielder was then picked up on the new charges of aggravated robbery that we end up ultimately charging him with. I will tell you that when we charged him with the aggravated robbery, which was July 30th of 2018, we also charged him with robbery, criminal possession of a firearm, aggravated intimidation of a witness, and intimidation of a witness. It was during that process where we were able to detain Mr. Fielder, and in that process, in fact, right before, I believe, the Jackson County prosecutor's office then charged him with a murder case that occurred while he was out of custody. So I wanted to clear up the history of Mr. Fielder, that my office did in fact try him twice and continued the investigation to try to get better evidence, to try him again. And when we found the evidence that could put him in custody to keep our community safe, we in fact did. I will further state that Deputy King and Deputy Rohr represent the best that's in all of us. The sacrifice that they made, and all of those that are in law enforcement, the sacrifices they make on a daily basis, it separates them from being good people to being special people. And we appreciate the sacrifices that they made and the sacrifices that law enforcement make on a daily basis. This office is now tasked with moving the case forward in the court process. And under the Constitution, Mr. Fielder, again, is presumed innocent until and unless proven guilty. Therefore, we will try this case in a fair and impartial way, because that is what the Constitution says, and that is what my office and this administration has always done. Mr. Fielder is charged with capital murder, and we will do our best to bring justice and to make sure that Mr. Rohr and King and their families receive some type of justice from this. At this time, I'm going to ask Sheriff Ash to come forward, and as he comes directly following his statement, I will come back for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Dupree. I want to take this opportunity just to thank the community in Kansas City, Kansas, the greater metropolitan Kansas City, Kansas community, Wyandotte County community, and also the greater metropolitan Kansas City community for the tremendous outpouring of support that they have shown to the Sheriff's Office and to the families of these slain deputies. We are profoundly sad about this incident, yet there's duty that remains to be done each day, and we are moving forward to take care of that duty. I also would like to thank the members of the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department for everything that they have done, not the least of which, and maybe the most important of which, is this criminal investigation, and for working it and presenting it to Mr. Dupree's office. And then I'd like to thank Mr. Dupree and the members of his office for the prosecution. We will move forward from this incident, and we will continue to do what it is that we do each and every day. Your expressions of love and support and care and concern are greatly appreciated, and once again, I want to thank you for them. Thank you very much.
At this time, I will open for any questions that you may have.
Mark, can I get a point of clarification on something
Please.
that you said? You listed those charges, the gun charge and those other charges against Mr. Fielder. And was that the additional evidence that you got? Was that for Kelsey Ioannis' case?
That was for the 2015 case, was Ms. Ioannis' case, of which we were continuing to investigate to find evidence. The evidence that we end up finding, and I will tell you that is still ongoing there. The evidence that we found to charge him for the aggravated robbery was not her case. It was not associated. It was a different person in a different
So while investigating her, you found evidence in a different case against
correct,
her? Okay.
which then led us to arrest him for the new case that we found evidence of while continuing to investigate the 2015 case.
In that case, in the 2015, the murder of Kelsey Ioannis, there has been some talk that there may have been some jury tampering. He's been charged with jury tampering for the murder in Kansas City, Missouri. Are you worried about jury tampering in this case?
I'm not concerned with it, but I have made it known of the charges that he has concerning witness tampering and have made it clear that it will not be tolerated. And so we are making sure that we do everything that we can to keep the witnesses that we have and their confidentiality close to our vests.
Are you seeking the death penalty?
That is one of the things that is possible with capital punishment here in the state of Kansas. This death penalty is legal, and we will consider all things that are legal in the state of Kansas. Are there any other questions?
Do you believe that Mr. Fielder had help in committing this action?
Based off of the evidence that we have from the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department and the detectives that are on the case, we do not have reason to believe that there was anyone else that was involved concerning this matter.